The following Cougar Wrap-Up program is being presented by the Yale Insurance Agency, 330 South Wells in Chicago, 427-6322.
Well, hi again, everyone. I guess I don't have to introduce this player on my left right now, even though he isn't wearing the familiar number 9. He's Bobby Hull, and Bobby, of course, is a spectator tonight because he still cannot play. He cannot coach until that federal judge in Philadelphia decides the case. And, of course, Bobby can also not talk about that case while the litigation is still pending. But, Bobby, I know you can talk about tonight's hockey game. And it was a very interesting hockey game, especially after that scoreless first period, the way Winnipeg went ahead and the way Chicago came back.
Well, Brad, the boys came out here in their home opener a couple of weeks or so ago and sunk the joint out against Edmonton. And they came out this first period tonight doing the same thing. And they had me a little frightened for a while, but they came on and they tried to give it away again. But they're a fine group of guys, a great hockey club.
You got a fast skating team, Bobby.
Yeah, I think so. Whoever put these guys together, and it's Anna Stukas and Bill Robinson. They did a terrific job. There isn't a bad apple in the whole group. And I was quoted here last week in the newspaper by saying I wouldn't trade him for the pick of the rest of the league, and that's just exactly how I feel. They're a heck of a bunch of guys, and we're very fortunate to have them here.
Of course, Chris Bordlow's had a fine year for the Jets so far, even without you at left wing. He had you last year. Last year, he only scored 14 goals. Already this year, he scored 9. I want to talk to you about Chris, but first, let's take a timeout. When should you be concerned about auto insurance? As soon as you can drive a car, really. You don't have to plan on having accidents, but you should plan on having auto insurance just in case. And that's why Yale Insurance Agency promises that they can insure anybody with auto insurance. And Yale Insurance Agency can find the best auto insurance plan for you, because that's their business, finding insurance to fit your circumstances no matter what your driving record or whether you're going on 16 or 80. And as one of Chicago's largest insurance agencies, Yale deals with some of Chicagoland's finest insurance companies, so they can do more for you than you can, and all for a small down payment and easy monthly terms. Call Yale Insurance Agency at 427-6322 and see what they can do for you. Make an appointment to see one of their representatives at either their Loop offices or in the convenience of your own home. And call tonight, 427-6322. Do yourself a favor and call the Yale Insurance Agency.
There were the big wheels when I was a kid.
Bobby talking about when he was a kid. I'll tell you, I walked into the Winnipeg Arena this morning, and it was really strange. I know Bobby's been up here for some time now, and he's allowed to work out with the Winnipeg Jets. It was really strange seeing Bobby Hull skate around in a pair of red trunks and not the familiar black of the Blackhawks. The kids were still up here also skating around. You had 3 of your boys here today. And something different from Chicago, Bobby. You allow kids to come in here and see you practice, and you really draw them.
Well, I think that any sport is very, very important for children, and the more kids that want to come in this building, the better I'll feel about it. And any of the guys that want to bring their kids down to the dressing room, we even have meetings with the kids in their dressing room, and of course that wouldn't be allowed in other areas. But I think it's terrific for the kids. It's great for the guys being on the road so much to have their families around them as much as they can while they're home, and we're away enough that we don't get to see the kids often enough, and anytime that any kids want to come into this rink, they're more than welcome.
Well, you sure make them welcome, because I saw you signing autographs today. You signed quite a few. I know kids are asking you for sticks and everything else. I know there aren't enough sticks to go around. So I understand yesterday you must have signed autographs for an hour and a half.
We had a workout over at a private school, Brad, and there were a number of the classes in the lower school allowed out to watch our practices, and of course not only myself, a lot of the other guys stayed around and signed their autographs, and of course me being the last dog to be hung, I may have signed a couple more than the other guys, but it's great for the kids, and Winnipeg not having a professional team, and a lot of these other cities out in the western provinces here and in parts of the United States not being able to see professional hockey before, I think it's great for everybody.
Bobby, you, of course, made your name during the old National Hockey League days when we only had 6 teams, about 108 players, the cream of the crop. National Hockey League has since gone to 16 teams. I know you've commented in the past that it just doesn't seem the same, and because you aren't going up against that top competition night after night. You've got the expansion clubs, which other have not. They just can't expect to go up against teams like Boston, Montreal, New York. What about your league? What do you see as the caliber of play here? I can't say your league, but what about the World Hockey Association?
Brad, I really I thought that the National Hockey League, of course, when there were the 6 teams, as you say, they had the pick of the entire country for 6 teams, and it was diluted somewhat with the expansion, and will be with the expansion. Of course, our league is in much the same state as the National Hockey League in the fact that we have 12 new franchises plus the 16 in the National Hockey League, and it is going to be somewhat watered down for a little while. But I gotta lie, every game that I've seen our club play in here and against the other clubs, it's fine hockey. It's very fine hockey. It's fast skating, and we've got enough fellas from the National Hockey League, experienced fellas, plus a lot of kids that have been shuttled and shuffled by the National Hockey League into these other leagues that never really got a chance to come up and to prove what they're worth.
Well, hockey's entertainment, as long as you give the fans a good show, a close show, an exciting show. I guess it really doesn't matter, because for me there was nothing more dull than watching a lopsided game where one team was just maybe going for the tie, dumping the puck. There's nothing like watching a Chicago-New York game, a Chicago-Montreal game. But you watch a Chicago-Los Angeles King game, and there was something lacking. Now, I've seen only 2 games so far. This game tonight, which was close for the most part. I saw the Chicago Cougars beat the Los Angeles Kings. There haven't been many of these 8-7, 8-6 games that they thought there would be.
Now we have very close games, and plus the fact that we're having a number of goals scored, and I think we're making it very interesting for the people. Of course, we used to get some lopsided games in the National Hockey League, even back when there were 6 teams. So there was power back then, and on 3 or 4 of the teams, and a couple were somewhat shy. But heck, there's room for us all. The National Hockey League and the WHA, and heck, we don't want to do anything but entertain the people and hope that we are allowed to do so.
We'll talk more with Bobby Hull right after this time out. If you're a tavern owner, you probably have a special group of customers, a special house drink, or a special insurance, like liquor liability insurance. Well, that's why you should see Yale Insurance Agency about liquor liability insurance for less than you're paying now. That's their business, finding the best insurance policy for people like you. You may be paying too much right now and not even know it. And all it takes is a phone call to Yale at 427-6322 to find out. And Yale Insurance Agency can also find you homeowners a homeowner's policy at the same low price advantage no matter where you live. For a small down payment and easy monthly terms, you can avoid gambling with the expense of a fire or a robbery. Call the Yale Insurance Agency at 427-6322 for a free estimate. Take advantage of the small down payments and the easy monthly terms that have made the Yale Insurance Agency one of Chicago's largest agencies. And do yourself a favor. Call Yale Insurance Agency now at 427-6322.